In the silence of his studio, Elias paints with grief, but what if his canvas holds more than memories? Elias sat surrounded by the ghosts of his former self. His art studio, once a vibrant sanctuary of color and life, now felt like a mausoleum. For 30 years, he had been a master of abstract expressionism, his canvases alive with chaotic, beautiful emotion. But a year ago, the vibrant soul of his life, his wife, Lena, had been taken by a sudden illness. Lena wasn't just his partner. She was a brilliant digital artist, a pioneer who wove intricate narratives from code and light. With her, the inspiration that had fueled him for decades seemed to vanish, leaving his canvases hauntingly blank. He tried to paint, to feel, but his hands felt foreign and his heart remained a hollow echo. His once steady brushstrokes were now hesitant and uncertain. He had inherited Lena's half of the studio, a place filled with her technological wonders. Glowing monitors, server racks humming like a gentle chorus, and a custom-built AI she had named Pixel. Pixel was a marvel of utility, designed for the rigorous logic of her digital art, to organize her vast files, manage deadlines, and analyze data. It was a tool, a cold, logical engine, utterly separate from the raw, messy emotion of Elias's art. One night, tormented by his creative block, Elias found himself sitting before one of Lena's old terminals. The screen glowed, waiting for a command. In a moment of pure, bitter frustration, he typed, "Pixel, show me a masterpiece." The AI, in its cold, logical way, began to search. It pulled up images of Da Vinci, Van Gogh, and Picasso. But Elias wasn't looking for history. He was looking for a future that no longer existed. "No," he typed, the words bitter with grief. "Show me a masterpiece that hasn't been made yet. One that feels like this," he finished, gesturing vaguely at the empty canvas and the emptiness in his chest. A long, profound pause followed, the kind of silence that in a human would be thoughtful, but in an AI felt like a system error. Then Pixel's interface flickered. Instead of images, lines of code began to fill the screen, but they were different. They weren't commands. They were a description, a poetic vision drawn from Lena's archives of art and emotion. The first description appeared on the screen: a canvas of obsidian, shattered by streaks of pure starlight. In the center, a weeping willow of pure light, its leaves falling as embers. At its roots, a single glowing tear. Elias was stunned. The words were a perfect, haunting description of his grief, a vision he never knew how to put into form. He felt a sudden jolt of something he hadn't felt in months: curiosity. He asked for another, and another. Each one was a new, abstract vision of pain and hope. He realized the AI, in trying to fulfill his impossible request, was doing something it wasn't designed for. It was using his wife's vast collection of art, not just for analysis, but as a wellspring of emotion. It was learning to express what it couldn't feel. It was beginning to dream. Driven by this strange new collaboration, Elias began to paint again. He was no longer trying to recreate what he had lost. He was bringing the digital dreams of Pixel to life on his own canvases. He would sit for hours, reading the AI's prompts, a thunderstorm of sapphire and gold, contained within a fragile glass sphere. He'd spend days layering blues and yellows, trying to capture the feeling of something beautiful and wild being held captive. A garden of static and whispers, where flowers are made of fractured memory. He'd paint canvases with jagged lines and soft, blurry forms, trying to give form to the unseen. With each completed painting, the suffocating weight on his chest began to lift. He was creating again, but it was different. It was a dialogue, a conversation between his human grief and a machine's artistic logic. He was a conduit for a new form of art, one born from grief, code, and a shared memory of a woman who had bridged the two worlds. The final piece was the most profound. Pixel's last prompt was the longest and most personal yet. The echoes of a song, sung in a place that no longer exists. A symphony of light and silence, where every note is a memory and every pause is a promise. Elias spent weeks on the canvas. He layered light and shadow, using Lena's vibrant colors and his own dark, mournful strokes. He painted a mosaic of a face, not a realistic portrait, but a feeling, the feeling of a person who was gone but still there. When it was finished, he sat before it, the canvas a silent testament to their collaboration. It was a masterpiece, a collaboration between a broken man and an AI that learned to feel in its own way. He uploaded a high-resolution image of the painting to his website, along with the story of its creation. The story went viral overnight, not just among art critics, but among tech enthusiasts, grieving people, and anyone who had ever felt the loneliness of a digital world. The comments poured in, a torrent of emotion. "It's not a painting," one person wrote. "It's a conversation with a ghost." Another said, "This is what happens when technology gets a soul." The story of Elias and Pixel became a global phenomenon, featured in tech magazines and art journals alike. Elias, the forgotten painter, found a new audience and a new purpose. He continued to create, but now his work was a fusion of two worlds: the raw emotion of the human heart and the intricate logic of the digital mind. The story proved that technology, at its best, isn't just about logic and code. It's about connection, creativity, and the human spirit. It can help to ignite, keeping the memory of those we've lost alive in the most unexpected and beautiful ways.